In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up the sunset flow inside Klaviyo. Obviously, this segment is designed to keep your list clean, save on your Klaviyo bill, and increase your deliverability over time by deleting unwanted profiles from your account. However, this flow, due to the nature of it, has notoriously bad effects on deliverability score because we're literally asking people to unsubscribe from our list. As well as this, it also has extremely bad open rates because we're sending to many dead email addresses. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you a strategy for the sunset flow that is a little bit more complicated, but completely flips this issue on its head and actually helps with deliverability over time. This will lead to your deliverability score not being hindered by this flow, but actually slightly being boosted by it. Now, this flow is of course still going to have the function of removing profiles that we do not want to send campaigns and flows to. However, we're going to be doing it in a different way using Klaviyo's native tag system. As well as covering how to actually build this flow inside Klaviyo, I'm going to be going over the flow structure of the sunset flow and the emails you want to include with some design inspiration. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So what is the issue with the sunset flow? The goal of sunset flow is to automatically filter out people who don't want our emails. Obviously, they've made this apparent by not opening and not clicking over a certain amount of time. We do this by creating an unengaged segment and sending a flow to these people once they enter that prompts them to either re-engage with the emails or unsubscribe from the list. Now, the first issue is that this segment naturally produces poor open and click-through rates as it's full of dead emails and people that have already displayed that they're not interested in our emails. Then, of the emails that aren't dead and actually do get opened, they unsubscribe. So this leads to high unsubscribe rates and high spam complaint rates, which are the two main factors that lead to bad deliverability in the eyes of inbox providers like Google and Yahoo. So this flow's only function is to ruin our deliverability. Awesome. Now, the solution to this. However, with slightly more effort, we can flip this on its head and have a sunset flow perform the same function of list cleaning and filtering out people who don't want our emails while actually improving our deliverability. Now, this isn't guaranteed to fix your deliverability, as we will still be sending this flow to people who just straight up don't open it. However, it will drastically decrease your unsubscribe rates because there won't be any or nearly none. And it will actually increase our click rate, which I'm going to show you why in a moment. So at the very least, it will help your deliverability out. The general summary of this strategy is as follows. Instead of prompting people to unsubscribe using Klaviyo's link that officially unsubscribes them from email marketing with our company, we will instead use Klaviyo's native tag system to create segments of people who have, for all intents and purposes, unsubscribed, and then we'll go ahead and manually unsubscribe them. So this is the way it works. Someone's going to enter the sunset flow segment. So this is them entering the segment, meaning they qualify for the parameters. This will then trigger them to be entered into the sunset flow. If someone clicks an email to unsubscribe using our custom link, which I'm going to show you how to set up, they will get a property tag unsubscribe, meaning they are tagged as unsubscribed, but they are officially still subscribed. If someone opens an email and does nothing, or clicks another button on the email, like a product button or something like that, they will be re-added to our engaged segments automatically just because they have engaged with that segment. They will also be removed from the sunset flow for the next email. If someone does nothing in this flow, i.e. doesn't open any of the emails and makes it to the bottom of the flow, they will then automatically be tagged as unsubscribed as well, because they have officially shown they are not interested in opening any of our emails. Profiles with a property tag unsubscribe can then be added to a segment named unsubscribe exclude from all. This segment is then excluded from all of our flows, all of our campaign sends, and before our monthly bill goes out, we can manually suppress them. Sounds complicated, but it isn't too bad once I go ahead and show you how to do it inside Klaviyo. So let's get straight into it. Now, as you can see on this page, we have all of our setup instructions. I'm actually going to go ahead and start with the sunset flow segment because this is what our flow is actually built off of. And then once I've set this up, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to set up the property tags and the flow itself. Okay, so first things first, we're going to go into our Klaviyo dashboard and we're going to navigate to the left-hand side where we see our lists and segments. Then we're going to go up into the top right-hand side and create a brand new segment. As you can see, I've gone ahead and named this segment, and the first thing we're going to want to do is make sure that the people in this flow actually are people who are not already unsubscribed. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that people can receive email marketing to be here because they are subscribed. Okay, and then for the rest of the filters, I'm going to go ahead and have what someone has or has not done, and then opened email 0 times in the last 120 days. Now, this number here is where we can change our sunset flow settings based on how strict you want to be. So if you want to be really strict with people, you can drop this down to 90 days, maybe even 60 days. I do recommend 120 days because that gives us a bit of a backlog in case we do have a big sale or something coming up and we do want to sort of blast it out to people. We've got that there with our 120 days. But also, if someone's not opening your emails within 120 days, they're definitely not interested. So this is where I like to go. However, you can go to 90, maybe even 60 days if you want to be a bit more strict with this and save a little bit more money. We then also want to make sure that these people haven't placed an order recently, because even if someone places an order but doesn't open our emails, they still show some interest in the brand. So again, this will be placed order 0 times in the last 120 days. Now, chances are there won't be much discrepancy between these two numbers, because if someone hasn't opened your email in 120 days, they also probably haven't purchased for you in 120 days, because even if they're opening your post-purchase emails, that will still count, obviously, to their open. So chances are this won't actually change the overall number in the top right hand corner here. And the final setting for this sunset flow segment is to make sure that someone has actually received enough emails. So what we're going to do is we're going to go received emails is at least 10 over all time. So this makes sure that all the people on this segment have actually had a chance to be engaged with our emails, meaning they've received some emails over time. Obviously, these 10 emails can be flow emails or campaigns. So 10 may sound like a lot, but it's actually not a lot of emails once you consider they've been through the welcome flow, they may have triggered one of our browser abandon or checkout abandon flows, and they've also received a few campaigns. So for this brand, that leaves us with 1,800 profiles that are going to go straight into our sunset flow and then have the option to re-engage or be suppressed. So that's everything we need for this segment. And now I'm going to go ahead and create our triggers and our flow. Okay, so because we're using a custom profile property for this flow and not one that's natively inside Klaviyo, we're going to have to go ahead and manually create it before we can set up our flows and before our CTAs will work inside of our flow. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to set up this profile filter manually. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go over onto the left-hand side again and go over to profiles. Here's where you should see all of your Klaviyo profiles. I'm going to go ahead and select a random one, so you will have to sacrifice someone who's subscribed here. If you do want to not risk losing a sale, you can scroll down and go a few pages and then click someone who's been subscribed for a while. Okay, so once you've found a profile that you're willing to sacrifice, you're going to want to go ahead and go to add custom property. We're going to name this unsubscribe. However, I have already done this. All you need to do is just write that out exactly how I've done here. This will look exactly the same. You just write unsubscribe in all lowercase. And then the only value we need to add is yes, because that's what we're going to be using. And then all from here, we just add profile property, and then that will now add the custom profile property into our Klaviyo account for us to use in different aspects of the account. Okay, so now we've got our trigger segment set up and also our custom profile property. We can go ahead, come over to flows and create our sunset flow now. We're going to go build own, sunset flow test for me, and then we're going to go ahead and create this manually. Okay, from here, our trigger is going to be added to segment. And then we're going to go ahead and select our sunset flow segment that we just created a moment ago. And then here we're going to go ahead and add no re-entry. Okay, and then for the profile filters for this flow, we've gone ahead and added placed order 0 times since starting this flow, clicked email 0 times since starting this flow, and opened email 0 times since starting this flow. That's everything for your flow setup. You can go ahead and save this and confirm and save. Okay, the first thing we're going to want to do is add our time delay. So because segments update every day at the start of the day, so at 12 o'clock, we're going to want to make sure that we're waiting until a certain time of day to trigger this flow. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go ahead and go delay until specific time of day. And then this is really up to you. So whatever data you've got from your campaigns, wherever you think the best time will be, basically we just want to maximize the opportunity of someone opening this email. So I normally recommend going somewhere like late morning. So we're going to go 10:30 for this, and we're going to go ahead and save. Okay, so that's everything done in terms of flow setup. All we want to do now is add our emails in and make sure that we're having the correct links to make sure that people are actually tagged as unsubscribe. Okay, so as you can see, I've gone ahead and created sort of a basic template here to show you what you can do with this email. There's many different routes you can take in terms of design. I'm going to show you some examples in a moment. However, I just wanted to go ahead and show you the two different buttons that we have for this flow, so people can decide if they want to say subscribe or unsubscribe from the list. With this email, in terms of copy and messaging, I like to be really straightforward with people and say, look, you haven't opened our emails in a while. Do you want to stay subscribed or not? Because at the end of the day, we don't want to trick people to staying subscribed if they're not going to interact with our emails. We want to be really honest to people and say, look, if you want to unsubscribe, please do. However, if you want to stay and you want to see our emails, go ahead and do so as well. So we want to be really honest with this. So like I said, we're going to be using custom link addresses for these call to actions to go ahead and actually tag people depending on what they press. So if we go back to the document, as you can see, this is what we're going to want to be using for our call to action to add people to our unsubscribe property filter. So this is the basic HTML that we're going to use to update a property filter. However, given our property filter that we just made, we've got unsubscribe and yes. Now this link here is where we're going to redirect people once they've clicked. So I recommend on your Shopify store, you go ahead and create a really simple page that is just your company / unsubscribe or something similar. And on that page, you're just going to say you are officially unsubscribed. This is pretty important because what we don't want to happen is for people to unsubscribe and then they get taken to a random page. They're not sure if they are so unsubscribed or not. So then they go ahead and do it inside Klaviyo anyway. So what we want to do is we want to create a custom page inside our Shopify that just says you are officially unsubscribed. From there, we can go ahead and add this custom HTML into our Klaviyo CTA link. So simply we're going to go ahead and go to the link address and copy and paste this. And now whenever someone presses this button, they're going to be redirected to our Shopify unsubscribe page but they're also going to be tagged as unsubscribed on the way. And then for this button, this is really simple. We can just link this to our website, because if someone clicks this link, they're going to be added to our engaged segment. Now, the important thing to note is that both of these people will actually technically be added back to our engaged segment, because they've come and they've clicked a button. So that's why it's important in the next step that we actually manually exclude these people that get tagged out of all of our campaigns, because if we don't, we will be sending campaigns to the people who think they have unsubscribed. Okay, so as you can see, really simple. We've got our unsubscribe link here, and we've got our stay in the loop link here, which is just going to take people to your website. So that is how both the emails are going to be structured, and this is what we want to do with our unsubscribe links. Okay, once we're here, if you do want to send 2 emails in this flow, I wouldn't recommend more than 2. I will go over the flow outline in a moment, but obviously you just add your time delay, probably for a day or 2. So let's go ahead and add 1 day. And then again, you can just go ahead and create another email with the same links and the same call to actions, just in case. Another thing I forgot to mention is we want to make sure we turn off smart sending on this email. So we're going to go ahead and skip recently emailed profiles. I mean, these people probably won't be emailed recently, seeing as how they haven't opened one for quite a long time. However, we just want to make sure they actually are receiving this email. So we're going to go ahead and turn smart sending off. Okay, so now the flow is set up and we've got our call to action links in place, and everything should be working correctly. The final thing we need to do is actually create a segment to manage all of these people. And then from here, we can exclude them from all of our campaigns and our flows as well. Okay, so really simple stuff here. We're going to go ahead and go back over to our segment builder, and then we're simply just going to make sure that this segment is people who have been tagged unsubscribed. Okay, so really simple here. We're just going to go ahead and add properties about someone. We're going to select the unsubscribe property that we made earlier, and then it's going to go equals as yes. So all of the profiles in this segment are the people that we're going to want to manually suppress and also exclude from all of our campaigns and flows. So simply go ahead and create this segment, and then from here I'm going to show you how to exclude it from everything and also suppress it. Okay, so here you can see I'm in my campaign builder now. I've selected the segment I want to send to. Now, this is important that we do this for every single campaign we send, no matter what, because you've got to remember that these people think they are unsubscribed from your list officially, so we can't send them any emails. And then I'm going to go ahead and select don't send to, and I'm going to go ahead and select our new unsubscribe segment. So as you can see here on this account, it's only got 3 people on it because it's not actually live. It's only been added as a test. However, this will probably have more people for you. So I'm going to go ahead and select this. And now for every single campaign, we're going to exclude this segment. Okay, and then in terms of removing these people from our flows as well, we're going to want to go ahead and go into our trigger of every flow. We're going to go ahead over to profile filters, and then we're going to simply do the same as what we did for the segment, but for our flows. Okay, so for the profile filter for the flows, we're going to go properties about someone unsubscribed doesn't equal yes, because obviously we don't want these people inside our flows. We're going to do this for every single flow that we have set live on our Klaviyo account to make sure that no one is receiving emails that don't want to. Okay, and then from there, the final thing that we're going to want to do with this segment is every month before our Klaviyo bill goes out, we're going to go ahead and go to this segment inside our segments page, and we're going to go suppress current members. We're going to do this every single month, and just before our Klaviyo bill goes out, we may be able to drop down a tier and save some money depending on how many people you have in this segment. So yeah, that's what you want to do with your segment every single month, and also from all your flows and all your campaigns. Okay, so that covers all of this section in terms of excluding and suppressing these people. I've got to mention as well, this document will be in the first link of the description, so you can go ahead and copy and paste everything you need to create this for yourself. The final thing I wanted to touch on is actually the flow outline and the emails that we're actually going to be sending to these people. There is a text-based email in this flow layout, which I do suggest you use, but still the same principles apply. You just add your link as the HTML above and it will work the exact same. So first email will be strictly text-based to help us land inside the inbox, because obviously text-based emails have a much better chance of landing in the inbox as they're purely text-based than HTML. Offer a warm personal message, but one that still gets straight to the point. So like I said earlier, we want to make sure people actually know what this is about and make sure if they want to unsubscribe, they do so. Seeing as how our deliverability isn't being completely nuked with this strategy, we can comfortably send 2 emails. Like I mentioned earlier, if we were using the normal strategy where you ask people to unsubscribe, your deliverability will be getting destroyed, so you don't want to be sending 2 emails. However, with this strategy, we can send 2. The second of which can be some design elements and some incentives to stay on the list. However, we're still making it easy to unsubscribe. So same principles apply. We want to make it as easy as we can, but maybe offer some incentives to stay on the list. Finally, people who don't open either of the emails are presumed unengaged and are tagged as such. So that's actually something I forgot to mention in the flow build, so I'm going to go back and show you how to do that now. Okay, so we're back in the flow now. Obviously, I showed you how to set up the email with the HTML. We're going to go ahead and assume you're going to do another email here, and then we want to add a time delay. So we're going to go ahead and have a 2-day time delay to make sure that we give plenty of time for people to open both the emails. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and tag them as unsubscribed if they make it this far. So for this, we're actually going to use a conditional split. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag it in from the left-hand side. Okay, so for this conditional split, we're going to go ahead and add opened email at least once since starting this flow and clicked email at least once since starting this flow. This means everyone on the yes side of this conditional split will do nothing, and they'll just simply be re-engaged automatically through our profile filters. But everyone on the no side will then go ahead and be tagged as unsubscribe, just like the people who clicked in the emails above. Okay, so as you can see on the left-hand side, under data, we've got a property update section. We're going to go ahead and drag this into the no side. We're then simply going to go ahead and add our unsubscribe profile filter as we have for the other setup phases in this build. And then we're going to go ahead and select that. Property value, yes. And now everyone who doesn't open or click an email will then be tagged unsubscribe as well. And they can also be excluded from everything and also suppressed every month. Okay, so now we're back to the flow outline. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and make this a bit bigger. So as you can see, we've got our time delay, which we set up in the flow. We've got email 1, waiting 2 to 3 days for email 2. And then we're going to go ahead and update people who didn't open or click the emails as I just showed you. Something to note that's really important is that just because we're using this different method to get people to unsubscribe, we still need to have Klaviyo's native unsubscribe link. So don't change your footers or anything like that. Make sure that Klaviyo's unsubscribe link is still present in your emails. Okay, and then as far as email design goes, I can show you these examples here. Really basic stuff. Like I said, we just want to make sure that people are able to unsubscribe if they want to and stay locked in if they don't. What you can do as well, like this brand has done, you can just add a keep me subscribed button for maybe the second email. So this means people aren't directly prompted to unsubscribe, but also means if they don't click this link, then they'll still be unsubscribed anyway due to our profile filter update at the end of the flow. So there's a few different options you can go. I recommend you take a look at these, maybe take a look at some other ones as well. But yeah, that's sort of everything for the email inspiration, pretty basic stuff. And yeah, that brings us to the end of the video. So I hope you got some value from this, and I hope you could follow along and build this for your brand or for your agency. If you are interested in working with us, we're currently offering brands that qualify a free welcome flow, but that's a bit off topic, so you can go ahead and check that out in your own time on my website. But yeah, that's everything for this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.